24 hours of music and talk. Radio without limits. That's why people keep coming back for more. That's ubnradio.com.
Hi guys, I'm Sunny Chayes and you're with us today on Singing in the Rain, and I'm so glad that people are hearing us from all over the world. It's just so awesome. And we are going to be today talking about moms in action. It's Mother's Day on Sunday, and I decided that that's what we really wanted to bring forward. And so that's what we're going to do. I was just up in Marin last week, and we were really bringing the power of the heart all around, and we'll be talking more about that, and Isabel Allende and Baptiste Pop, who's the producer of that, and so many incredible stories. And we have Jack Rose, who's calling in. He actually just landed from Nepal, but he's going to be calling in from Topanga, I think, and leaving for Nepal again in a little bit. And we have Wendy Silvers here, who is part of she's actually the founder of Million Mamas movement, and so we're going to be chatting with her in a little bit. But first, we have the beautiful and amazing Dr. Sarah Larsen, who's been on my show before. Yahoo is right! Woo-hoo! And she is back, and we're so glad she is. And we're going to be talking about people, women specifically, in action, in movement, taking it to the streets, taking it to the churches, getting it from the churches out into the streets and into our lives, and being the true advocates for our kids. Who, I mean, we moms, we're our best advocates for our kids. Our kids have us there for them, and so it's our job, and it's our heart, and it's our responsibility, and it's our pleasure and desire to really bring it on all levels, environmental and judicial, and with our health and with our food and so many elements of life for our kids. So I would like to bring on Dr. Sarah Larsen, and we'll fit in with all of your fabulous stuff that you do as we go through. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much,
My pleasure.
Sunny. And you are such a powerful woman, and I love being on your show for so many reasons. And I love this show in particular. For men and for women, for each of us, we would not be here without our mothers.
Yes.
And without this element that mothers bring to everything. And in my travels, I've traveled to quite a few countries and quite a few cultures. And in old Sicily, they say it is a woman's love. A woman's love is the pillar upon which society is built. Yes. And it's such a beautiful thing that Dalai Lama actually shares so beautifully, that it is Western women that are really given this stamp in order to change the world now as well. The hope. And when I first heard the Dalai Lama say that, I was born in a third world country. I was born in the East, and I was living in the U.S., and I thought, well, am I a Western woman or am I an Eastern woman? And over the years, since I've heard that, I've really clarified that for myself. It's the women that come from the East and the West, and all that are embodying what we have here right now, which is this connection for truth, this connection that we're building in the West. Women that are supporting women, mothers with their daughters, women within the community, the pillars of society that are being built by these beautiful moms all around the world.
Absolutely. And I feel like it's also the way of doing life. It's sort of the ancient way, the new way, the next way, whatever that next way is going to be. We're sort of stepping into that right now, this uncharted territory. Yes. And one thing that I want to say about Nepal, because that's on everybody's mind, and as I say, Jack is going to be with us in a bit. He co-founded an organization called Waves for Water, and what they do is so impactful because, for example, they were in Nepal right away. I mean, within hours. I don't honestly know how they did it, and put programs into place that are just way deeper and more almost ubiquitous than the Red Cross. I mean, they just move so quickly like stealth. And that aspect of being able to really get to the healing right away, and as I say, the ancient and the new coming together, the East, the West coming together, because it's all good. We don't have to demonize any of it. It's all it's all good.
This is as someone who's an allopathic doctor. I was trained in Western medicine, and I was trained in India, in the East, for this Western medicine aspect. And I've gone on to train with so many great doctors. I worked in those regions that had no clean water. Their well water was, there were little bits of plankton on it. You pull it out, and babies, and that was the good places with water supplies. There are so many places in India, Nepal, Africa, in our country even, that we sort of these urban areas that don't have the great water, the great nutrition, the great things that we need right now. And the ability for Jack to move to move these water filter systems really is on the ground systems of people coming together, trusting, believing in, building for each other, and building for people they've never met before.
There's actually a story that I want to share, and Jack, I hope you're listening, because this is one of my favorite Ways for Water stories. It was actually John. They go to these different places that are very, very dangerous, and they were planning to go to Afghanistan. They were going to Kandahar, which was at that point extremely dangerous. But they work with the military, and as they are in Nepal right now, as a matter of fact. And they made a plan, and it was supposed to be a safe time and everything. So John went. John is Jack's son. And he went over with the filters, which are extremely inexpensive and can be used anywhere. We'll explain more about them in a minute. Went to Kandahar, and oops, things changed quickly, and it was extremely dangerous. So John had to be suited up with all kinds of military gear, and went out to a village, and all of these women, about 15 women, came to this little center area where John was teaching them how to use the filters in their complete coverings, their complete burqa, with only their hand coming out to see what it is. And really, it's taking these 5-pound buckets, or 5-gallon buckets that can be found anywhere in the world now, and taking a knife or something and just jamming a hole in it, taking this filter and smashing it in. I'm probably saying it very ungracefully, but I mean, the thing is it just happens so fast. And then because of the filter, this water that's completely undrinkable, or basically like Russian roulette to give to our children, comes through clear. I mean, and it looks like swamp water, seriously, coming through as clear. So the women learned this. They went back to their villages, and that's the other great part of Ways for Water. And again, what women do naturally, not that Ways for Water is women, but I'm tying it all in. Trust me, I will. Because when it's really that fine a process of getting through, it works in such an elegant way. These people then take the filters where they need to go. Like Jack and John don't necessarily know, or the military sometimes doesn't even know. They know the villages, they know the churches, they know the families. They'll take a donkey, or they'll take whatever to get wherever. The next morning at 5 a.m., bang, bang, bang on the door, and there were these men out there, and the military people got ready. There were these Arab men outside, from Kabul or who knows where. They could be terrorists, who knows, smashing on the door. And they opened the door, and these guys had come to thank Ways for Water.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So that's one of my Ways for Water stories. But
it's
yes,
such a beautiful thing,
having the women take it out there.
To really understand the courage it takes to be able to. I grew up in a place where everyone covers completely, and to really let yourself be seen, it's like pulling off a layer of skin. And it's because you've grown up your entire life out in the outside world covered this way. And it takes courage. And I love the word courage, because it's that it takes your whole heart. The root of the word courage is your whole heart, and the energy of rage, of carrying with your whole heart. These women risked their lives in this military space and came out and learned, and they did it because they knew what it meant for their children, for them. And the men at the time would not have been welcome. And that's Ways for Water had the compassion in order to invite the women, because military men with these men you never know what winds up happening. And it's this wisdom that we get to look at and examine and bring compassion. And I love breaking up words. If you look at the word compassion, it's compass and passion. Together, you get to bring your heart compass into these situations, and you create solutions. And the military men and these strong Arab men were able to see what was really happening.
Exactly. And I also feel that what we all realize at this point is there are ways to deliver our gifts, our services, our message. And it isn't, we sort of come away from, which I'm really grateful for, finger pointing and preaching at people, but sort of saying, well, this is what, just kind of storytelling. And telling the story, and that's why I'm telling the story of Ways for Water, because I can get very technical about it.
Yeah.
You and I, before the meeting, Dr. Sarah, were writing down, different women we know who are warriors, who are bringing it, who are women in action, and I was realizing that it's the story that brings it to our heart. I know for me, it's always about the story.
You're honoring the ancient tradition.
Yes.
Back before there was paper, back before there were pens, it was the oral tradition.
That's right.
Passing down the stories, or even some of the indigenous people, if you wanted to reach somebody, you sent a message through the water.
That's right. I want to talk about Mindful Warrior. That's Gail Soffer. You were giving me some people, and I forgot about Mindful Warrior. And she is... there are so many veterans that are so challenged coming back from Iraq, especially in the last 10 years.
Yes.
And, so taking these people, shifting them out of suicide to wanting to live life. And that's, again, the stories that we can tell about her. Or Susan Burton, who is a person who was incarcerated 6 times. But her story also is that she brought her son home from school, kindergarten, and he was playing outside in the road and got hit and killed by a police officer driving.
Yeah.
And she was so brokenhearted and everything anyway, started doing drugs and alcohol and everything, and ended up going through the cycle of incarceration 6 times until it's, again, a long story, and check out a new way of life. But then she was able to come out and figure out a way that this is just not working, and how to get women to be able to transition from incarceration to a new way of life. And the bridge that happens when someone's in jail for 17 years, life changes so much, so many things. And
so much technology. The jobs we have today did not
well,
even
I mean, there are
exist
women who come out who don't know how to turn on a shower. I'm not kidding.
Culture shock.
Yeah.
Well, it's way beyond culture shock. It's like literally, they don't know how to.
They don't remember.
Because they don't do it. They haven't been alone for so long.
And it's kind of like having the burqa, that covering on your skin, and it takes such courage. It reminds me of this story that the Greeks share in their literature, and the Greeks share so beautifully, and they believe this literally. They believe that we choose our parents. Before we incarnate into this physical form, we choose a purpose. We choose parents. We choose our spouses, and we also choose to forget.
Yes.
And then we have these profound moments in our lives that wake us up and awaken us to our purpose. And when we get the purposefulness of something, anything that was suffering before turns into surrender. Like a mother going through childbirth forgets it, has more children.
Yes.
And she also doesn't call that suffering. She calls it a surrendered process. And when we wake up, sometimes in these traumatic ways, we wake up and we remember our purpose, then we develop relationships and small groups of people. That small group of women that met Jack and Waterways wound up changing the fate, changing what happened to the village. It takes a small group of people coming together in order for all of the transition, all of the shapes for change to happen.
Absolutely.
We naturally, in nature, well, we drop seeds everywhere. We drop seeds, but the ones that we nurture, the ones that we water, are the ones that expand and grow into these beautiful seeds. And these women, Gail Sofer, some of Jack, the movements that we're starting are really about watering the seeds and really being able to take our life force, take our purpose until we find our own, to find ones that really resonate. And we can water that, and we learn so much.
Yes, and also just to kind of bring it to the moms in action, it's also about the passion. It's also about the sort of immediacy, because because when a kid is hurt, you get to it right away. When something's happened, you grab them right away. There's not this waiting. There's not this namsy pansy ass attitude. It's like, get to it now. Yes. And one of the things I'm always talking about is really waking up about the environment. By the way, do you like our glasses? These used to be jam.
Cheers.
And cheers, exactly. This used to, I have so much fun with all the ways of being able to, reuse things instead of even recycling. Like that's an old one, guys. Just don't use it in the first place. Or if you do, use it 100 times and then get rid of it.
Reuse.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
Recycle. Yeah.
So just being aware that we can use our voice, our power of one, that we can use our voice when it comes to politics. Marianne Williamson just did Sister Giant a couple weeks ago, and at that event, Bernie Sanders was there. And as most people know now, he's running for president, among many other people are jumping into the race, which is what will happen. But he literally stood in front of us and basically said, like, what's going to happen? Are you guys going to gather around me? And people were kind of crazy and stuff. I don't know, it got kind of weird. And then Marianne said, she just got everybody quiet. And she said, okay, if you are behind this person, quietly stand up. And so Marianne, as the powerful woman that she is, sort of shifted this whole kind of chaotic energy into this focused ability to answer a question together. And again, to use our voice and to use our activism in whatever way it is, like many of these people.
Yeah.
But I'm going to mention the next bit.
And it's so funny because you don't have to have a major cause already. There is Wikipedia, on Wikipedia, this article about hysterical strength. And it's Lauren Kornacki is a woman that might be mentioned in that, but she lifted a car, and pulled her dad out from under the car, lifted this amazing car, tons of weights, performed CPR, saved his life. There's a whole list of women that lift cars, that lift trees. And these women in that moment, not remembering who they are, the ego pursuits, they just know that they're needed.
Right,
this
the immediacy,
hysterical strength comes up, and they're able to perform these amazing feats that save their cared loved ones.
Well, that's what it's about, and that's kind of what we're in right now, I feel like, is in this crucial, critical time. And it's, there are many, many things that are happening, like our brothers and sisters being incarcerated in cages all around our country. And organizations like Drug Policy Alliance, Lynn Lyman is the California director of that, and changing 47 was on our ballot and actually passed in November. And so that has changed non-violent offenses down, so it's not a felony, it's a misdemeanor, or it's expunged, or, to not have our brothers and sisters in cages, and also for us to be paying $50,000 a year, which is a whole other part of it. But to really realize that, as mothers, that there are so many young men who are being put behind bars for the most, it's like Les Mis. People are in situations where they're in dire situations, and they do things that they otherwise wouldn't if things were different. And then the system catches them up, and it's just this never-ending river of death and pain and destruction and just useless use of a beautiful human child, and it affects not just that child, but of course that whole community over and over and over again.
The
so
inner
thank you, DPA, for doing what you do. Seriously, it's a big
it's
thing.
Really important.
It's beautiful that we often forget we forgot who we are and our strengths.
Most of us. I don't think you have, but go ahead.
I don't think I have
There are
either.
few people.
Right. There's a few people that
Remind us.
because they have these situations that come up and they remember moment to moment, they rally around what they really believe in.
Yes.
That compassion, that courage. And when we
The need,
and
the necessity.
the necessity, and the root word of compassion is to vote with. And as you're sharing these stories, these organizations that have founded, Wendy's organization that she's founded, when you stand, it's to take a vote for. Compassion has that root word around it that allows you to take, to vote with.
Yes, and to have the action. I mean, I love also the word declaration.
Yes.
There's a movie where I was talking about the power of the heart, and the beginning, and this movie is so amazing, guys. Just trust me. Go get it. Get it on
yes.
Amazon. Get it at Beyond Words.
You can actually order it online. We ordered it online, and we
It's
got it, and we
super
share it with
beautiful.
our friends. The power of the heart.
Yes, and in the very beginning of the movie, Maya Angelou, which the producers were able to catch in such a glorious way that we have that. I just every time I see it, I just smile and have tears. But she basically sort of makes a declaration in the beginning, and she says, "My name is Maya Angelou," and then a statement about the heart. And I was talking to the producer about that. And it was like really a stand. You know, when you say your name and then you say whatever after that, that's sort of your not even sort of, it's your declaration. And like you were saying, it's not big. It doesn't have to be big things. I mean, you guys who are listening, I mean, and watching, I mean, that's what we're always talking about, is the power of one person making a difference, and then joining with another one and another one and another one, and then whatever happens. And that's what I'm so excited about, even before in the show when we're talking about, I was telling you about Tara's Himalayan restaurant, and our dear friend Tara, who Jack knows very well too, and she left she's Nepalese. She was a woman who couldn't read or write. She came over to the States. She opened a beautiful restaurant in the sort of, I guess it's a Culver City area. And then it's a phenomenal food. Guys, go to it. Tara's Himalayan cuisine. But she came over here to do this, and she sends money back, and she has a school, and now she can read and write. And but she's left for Nepal this morning, I believe, and she's taking medicines and all of these things. And then she's pairing with your people, and she's pairing with Waves for Water, and she's pairing with Bob Guglielmo, who has an organization, and everyone is gathering there. So that's really what it's about. It's just all of us just opening our hearts, knowing our power, knowing our gifts, and just doing it. And like today. And
what you said also, Sunny, that's so important is that it's really wherever you are, whatever it is that you're doing, even if you're the person that sits on the porch and just knows the truth for people, somebody that smiles at somebody. I mean, it's what's so important is that love conquers all. And it is that vibratory frequency that is what will transform our world.
Yes.
So it's that love that leads to action, because we want people that are moving from inspired action and not necessarily impulsive. So it's really important to know that everyone, wherever you are, you make a difference. Absolutely. Now, I didn't really introduce you because I was going to bring you on after Jack, but we're chatting, so I feel like I should introduce you. So this, guys, we've sort of woven into this. Wendy Silvers, who is the founder of I don't know. I have the hardest time saying your name. My name or the Million Mamas Movement. Mamas. For the it's just that part's not hard. I don't know what it is about that. Yes, and so you're going to actually be there are a bunch of things going on too I want to talk about, and Jack will call in at any moment now, but you're going to be at Agape. There's a wonderful sort of setup that Laura Weintraub's put into play at Alice's Quiet Mind bookstore at Agape International Spiritual Center in LA, and I think it's the second Friday of each month, or however they're arranging it, so check it
out online. There's another author who's doing a lovely talk and just in the bookstore, and it's free, and of course buy books and all that stuff, but it's just a great chat. Last month I had David Christopher with The Holy Universe, which I love that book. Guys, get that book too. So many things for you to do.
Yeah.
So that was last month, and it was very beautiful. And then this Friday is going to be your book,
Yes,
right? Which is
yes.
called?
The book is called Balance for Busy Moms.
Yay.
And my contribution is the 4 pathways to activate your womb wisdom, which is really powerful because so many people forget about the power of the womb. And the womb is from whence everything emerges.
Yes.
And so these are the 4 pathways. So people can come. I'm going to speak. I'm going to dialogue. It's going to be very interactive.
Cool.
So, yeah.
I love that. And then I want to remind people, of course, at the end of this month is Revelations in LA, which is Agape's big party every year. And many awesome people will be there. Panache Desai will be there. Dr. Sue Mortar will be there. Of
Joe
course,
Dispenza.
Ricky and Bride. And of course, Ricky and Michael and many other surprises. Who knows who will be there. And it's just such a fun gathering in LA.
And you host these things so beautifully. The hosting of the power of the heart.
Thank you.
Revelation. I know Reverend Michael is coming on.
Yes,
And
I
yes,
believe next week we will see.
which is-
He's
Oh, that's good. I texted him that I was
Yeah.
going to be on this
cool.
show today.
Yeah. So we have it planned for next week. He's a very busy man, so I'm hoping.
Yeah.
that
Yes.
what happens in these conferences that we go to when we attend is we really remember aspects of ourselves, and we remember we're at sort of the veil that society or some of the energies on the outside have put on, and we connect with an inner deeper truth, and it's from this inspiration, I love in spiritus, and from the energy of the womb. We every time we breathe in, we let air out, and everything in nature mimics this as well. That breathing,
Or maybe we mimic it. I believe. Actually.
We mimic everything in nature.
Yes.
The natural parts, everything in nature mimics this breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in, you expand on the inside. Your diaphragm opens. You take the outside in, and you let go of what no longer serves you. The earth does this all the time with ripping open a seed and a flower coming up. We do this within childbirth. There is a moment of absolute chaos in an emergence in the birth process, and that's when you know that the baby is coming out. The baby comes out.
It feels like chaos, but it's actually well ordered.
It's well
But
ordered.
it feels like chaos to us.
Correct. But the mom inside her body feels this phonetic
Right.
chaos.
Yes.
And she's like, I can't do this anymore. And
Yes,
all of us,
back.
yes,
moment.
right.
Back. Yeah.
All of
I
us
remember
get
that feeling.
really excited because we
And
know
scared.
that's the birth of something beautiful. And when this baby comes out, we cut the umbilical cord. We remove the placenta from that connection. And there is this amazing breathing in, breathing out, the expulsion process, and letting go.
That's
the
right.
baby in its birth lets go of what it no longer needs in order to thrive. If it held on to it, it would not survive.
Well, it would die,
you
and
know,
we
yeah.
would too.
There's something new that they do in gentle birth is that they wait for the umbilical cord to stop pulsing before they cut it.
Right.
Yes.
And so it's very powerful because that just, once again, it's like that natural order of things.
Yes.
And-
I remind moms all the time, though, new moms, that we
Yeah.
continue to cut the umbilical cord.
Yeah.
Many times. It's sort of a never fully cut. And I just remind people it's like this little movement and that little change and then moving out from the home and then all that. It's like once again. So, we do it one time, but it's an ever expanding and changing and evolving process
Yes.
that we do as moms. Yeah.
It's
A
a
wise woman said to me once, when they're little, they're on your hands, and when they're older, they're on your heart.
Yes.
And so I walk with that wisdom.
You know, speaking of that, I did want to say one more thing about the power of the heart, and speaking about moms. And one of the people who's in the movie The Power of the Heart is Isabel Allende. And what a joy. And how feisty is she at 75? Boy, hold on. I did an event in Marin at the Rafael Theater last week with, again, Baptiste, and Isabel was there, and we did a Q&A. And her part in the movie is so important because she's known for being an author of beautiful books, and she's also known as a person who really has brought the voice, the power of the feminine, or of the actual female in her books, and then of course movies to the world, you know, the power of her heroines. And in the movie, she describes how her daughter was in a hospital, and there was some misfunctioning and misdiagnosing and just ignorance that happened, which rendered her daughter a vegetable, and she held on for a year and then transitioned. And so the whole process of what she went through with that, and her husband wanted to sue the hospital, you know, just all of this, and how she went through her process of forgiveness. And so again, I mean, the power of the heart, you know, when you bring that up, it reminds me of that, of being able to move through that, forgiving and allowing her, letting go of that so she can enjoy the life of her child, as this is how she puts it. I don't know if I would be that big, but that's where she's moved to.
Yeah. I think it's really important to recognize all the purposes, the function of our heart and our body as well. This is those moms that were able to lift cars and lift branches for their fathers or their children. A 22-year-old woman lifting and performing CPR, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's so many things like that.
Our heart informs our brain.
Right.
It allows for communication to happen. In our physical body, so much happens. And I know Jack can talk about a lot of what he's witnessed, and I think he might be calling in.
No, he's not yet. Go ahead.
The power of the heart in order to create a coherence around us. The Dalai Lama comes to town, the crime rate falls.
They meditate.
When meditation reduces the chaos in the environment directly around us, opens up more pathways of blood within our brain, more pathways of communication open up, and we're then able to hear more solutions from the inside, from focusing on and meditating on our heart. Or in the Dalai Lama's case, he's cultivated it so much that it can be measured miles away. Our hearts can be measured by an EKG machine across a room because it is transmitting a wave. And it's transmitting to our brain, to our body, and to the environment. And that's really what the power of that movie communicates so beautifully. And when she forgives, when she was stuck in the suffering of daughter, that energy, or if anyone's stuck in suffering and not connected from this heart space to their purpose around that suffering, then they're not in a place of surrender and generating a field around them. They're also not making available parts of their brain and parts of the rest of their body that becomes available when you're living from that inner compass, from that inner heart.
You know, there was a doctor named Dr. Winnicott, who was a really amazing, he was a pediatrician, he was also a psychoanalyst, and he was very, very ahead of his time. He was in Europe, and he would tour around, and he would talk to the doctors and nurses at that time, and he would say to them, this was very, very just rocking ahead of its time, get out of the way of the mother. The mother knows. Yes. And, you know, this is something that I remember as a young mom with young children, was this sort of outer convention that was supposed to be. And I really went the other way. I nursed a long time. I did a lot of things that I just knew were right. But it was sort of hard, too, because there's this pressure of, well, this is the way to do it, and this is what's accepted, and all of this kind of thing. really listening to our own hearts about our child also. I mean, there's a dyad there that is absolutely original, will never be again, never was before. And to really know, you know what, this is what's up with me and this child. So just back off, people. Really, right?
Yes.
I mean, have we all had those moments where it's like, come on,
Absolutely.
people,
I
shut
have
up?
them a lot. And you probably know that the heart is the first organ in the fetus to develop.
Right.
Yes, it
And-
starts
and
beating.
That's how we know that it's
Yeah.
alive, is
And-
it starts beating.
And so it's actually called the first brain.
Yeah.
Because it has more mirror neurons than the actual brain. And
Yeah.
when we talk about love, we're not talking about a sentimental love. We're talking about an eternal love. We're talking about a vibration, a vibratory frequency that just fills your whole being, which goes back to, the belief that we, are incarnated, we choose our incarnation. Carolyn Mace speaks about that in Sacred Contracts. So, I mean, this is, again, ancient wisdom that's really, it's really truth. And, everything old is new again. So it seems like it's being rediscovered, but really what's happening is that people are waking up.
Yes.
And I believe the reason, when I heard, the Dalai Lama said that in '94 in Vancouver, and I think that it's not only the divine feminine, because if you think about the Holy Mother, it's like mother, father, divine presence. That mother energy contains within it the mother and the feminine. And so you think about the container, and it's the absolute mystical marriage of the divine feminine or the Holy Mother with the conscious masculine, because you cannot be a mama without a papa.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So we really honor the masculine energy, and what's happened is that in our world, what we're seeing is such a disproportionate, out of balance, patriarchal paradigm that completely diminishes and demonizes the feminine.
And that's
then
shifting, actually.
It is shifting.
That's why there's
Yeah.
a lot of...
exactly why it's rising. The Holy
a lot
Mother
of-
is
yeah.
rising. The mother, the divine mother energy that is really the basis of creation.
And I
is
think
rising.
when we talk about the Divine Mother, it's really to talk about the receiving end, the listening aspects of ourselves. And the Divine Masculine is the giver. It's the...
I think it's the delivery system.
The delivery system is
the
that
masculine.
correct. That is the next. It delivers the energy of that. The wisdom listens and shares in such a way, and the earth gives to us. And so, in relationship to
Yes.
the earth,
It certainly does.
in relationship to the earth, we receive from the earth, and so we wind up being feminine, and the earth in that scenario is acting out this masculine energy of giving to us. The earth receives from the sun. The sun, everything that's been created, everything that grows has had sunlight involved in it. And so for the earth acts as a receiver for the masculine sun. We're all playing out these roles. At times, it becomes important to be the listener, the receiver.
Absolutely.
And at times, it becomes important to stand as the delivery system. And in Egypt, I just got back from a trip in Egypt, and the wisdom on the walls in Egypt speaks to, we carry with us the divine feminine and the masculine.
Yes.
That we are in physical form, I am female, and my aura, my energy field that we can now document in science. We now have Carillion photography that captures this. My aura, my energy field is masculine. And so I carry around with me the perfect balance because at times I can draw from my energy field this energy to be a great delivery system. And at times I am able to be the receptor, to receive what's there and to fill it with love and send it back out into the environment.
So it's all about the balance. It's all about the balance. And I also, what were you going to say, Wendy?
Well, something that I speak about actually is called fierce compassion.
Yes.
Because I'm a compassionate or nonviolent mindful parenting educator, and I work a lot with parents raising their children with compassion and connection and integrity and reparenting themselves in the process. And something that I think is very important is to mention fierce compassion, because that fierce compassion, that fierce feminine energy is the energy that goes up to Sacramento and says, oh, no, no. It's the one that says to Monsanto, oh, we're not going to have that anymore. We want clean air, clean food, clean water. It is the energy that says to somebody, you know, you're not going to step on my feet again. I'll take my keys back. Thank you so much. Or we're not going to work together. This isn't working. Or I love you, but I cannot live with you anymore. Or when
well, I think what it really is too, that fierce compassion and that fierce behavior is something I've been working with a lot in the last couple of years, and even doing with this show, is really getting to the truth. And what is the truth? And that keeps getting deeper and changing and moving. And like even in the health world, you know, that people have been very, I mean, we had to kind of like think of health for many, many years. People just did their life. But like in the 70s, 80s, all of a sudden it became like working out and vitamins and these kinds of things, because food wasn't doing it. So it's like, well, what is health? And that keeps moving. And is it doing aerobics? Well, not really, but that used to be. And, you know, but it's all moving all the time.
Evolution.
What's good? Well, it's evolution, but I think I think it's but I think it's part of us just allowing the truth to hold it lightly in our hands and to allow the shifting and changing, because lettuce is good, but not too much lettuce. You know, like what is, again, the balance, and ripping away the unknown, ripping away the knowing, quote unquote, and getting at truer knowings and deeper knowings, and just getting at it in a
and it's just to not know too,
right. That's
to be in a place of discovery instead of a place of know-it-all
righteousness. You know.
Yes, and
I think part of the conversation that everyone has with themselves is part of the equation as well. We've got that the second that you start to remember all of the courage that it took to come into this physical form, you start remembering who you truly are. The truth constantly has a new voice to it, a new inner dialogue, and that curiosity plays a huge role. The most important thing, as someone who's, my grandmother taught me starting from 3 years old, I thought everyone saw what I saw. As a medical intuitive, there wasn't a term for it. I just saw energy and density. And later on, I went to med school to make sense of it. Later on, I worked throughout the world. And now, as someone who teaches and educates, it always comes back to, you've got something special, a conversation, a way of seeing things, something that others don't see.
At all, never.
At all.
Yeah.
And no one else can see it for you.
Right.
You've got to see it for yourself. And that seeing it for yourself then gives birth to a new relationship to everything that exists.
Exactly.
From there forward, when you remember there's as many realities, as many truths as there are beings on the planet, people, because every one of us carries all the same energy. Most of our DNA is exactly the same, with tiny, minute changes on it. That minute change is the way that we see the world, different from the person sitting to my left and to my right.
And it's all the truth for each person.
And it's all the truth.
Like on the elephant, you know, like when one little mouse is on the tusk, and that's its truth. It's like, what does the elephant feel like, you know? And then the other little mouse is on the tail, and that's the truth for that. But if they were to chat with each other, they would argue all day long until they fell over and needed more cheese.
It's perspective.
So that's absolutely the truth. And I think of audacious, you know, that's what moms are about when you're talking about the dynamic, audacious behavior that we're now moving into in all of these different areas. And it can be like, you know, just on our street, it can be making choices with our dollar. It can be all of the different things that we can be advocates for, or going to, like you, Wendy, going to Sacramento, or like Lynn Lyman, changing the laws and how we're behaving with putting people in jail and saying, look, I'm mad as hell. I'm not going to take it anymore. there's nothing
Yes.
wrong with some, audacious, bold, angry,
Disrupting the pattern.
Yeah,
And
just speaking
consciousness.
out and
Well,
saying.
all change comes from building together. Every change that we have, everything that exists today was once an idea.
Absolutely.
And every idea got energy and emotion and people behind it.
Like
and-
the Flintstones
l-
and the
right-
Jetsons.
Right.
Those were all ideas, and now
Yeah,
we've got all
yes.
of the technology.
All of the technology exists. We are creating it. It becomes being able to stand in integrity with yourself and to look out
and find the integrity.
and build connections
And that-
and communication with people that you can trust and people that you can share your trust with. You build with other people. Any idea that's come to pass that's been truly changing, Margaret Mead's words, it takes a small group of people. And how to build that people, how to build that tiny little tribe, that tiny little group, is to really go in and is what I'm doing today truly serving what I want to leave behind? Is this part of the dream? Am I listening to the younger generation, to the children?
Exactly.
And what is coming forward? What's necessary? And if your energy, if your life force isn't happy, if it's turned off, suppressed or depressed, those are signals to really start listening for
Your
what
purpose.
what you want to create, what
Yeah.
you want to see more of, and also to begin to trust yourself to say, I have it within me to show up for my neighbor who's shown up for me.
And the
And
way
to
to trust
build-
also, yeah, exactly. And the way to trust is to just get in, just dive in, and what you're talking about with the little groups, the little
Yes.
communities, what I'm seeing in my work, which is super exciting, is all of these groups, like all of these Venn diagrams coming together, and I
Yes.
love I've been in this make a difference kind of peace movement for a long time, and I have to say, when I first started out, I saw a lot of egos, and it was like, why are they getting so much attention? I wrote a better book, or
Yeah.
I have my organization is better than their
I
organization.
thought of that.
I mean,
thought of
for
that
real,
first.
well, no, but I mean, really.
No,
and then,
I'm
and then now people are sort of, it's like, guys, get real.
Yeah.
We've got to,
All hands on
water, for example, stop using it, people, just get real. Like, use, the earth
Yeah.
is sacred, and we're just here for a short time, and we've sort of taken over thinking that we can just play and do and wreck and, just do whatever we want, and we don't get to. And so, again, being moms on Mother Earth with a capital E, I don't know why
Yeah.
I see Earth in books without a capital E. I can't figure that out.
Yeah.
So like just having the reality and the knowledge and the heart space and the trust in ourselves to know that we do, it's
Yes.
our time's now. Like, hey, if not now, when?
Well, Sunny, you speak to something that's really important, and several things, and also Dr. Sarah. One of the things is consciousness. When we talk about consciousness, and I do believe it's an evolutionary impulse within each of us that propels us forward, and that consciousness grows, and it grows by being in sacred community with like-minded, like-hearted people. And one person, the old, as I am raised up, I raise all those with me. And I believe that that's what continues to happen. And what we're seeing is that there's a much higher level of consciousness. If you look at Power versus Force, if you look at the work of Stephen Hawking, who used that to measure consciousness, our consciousness, the consciousness of our planet is higher than it has ever been in history. So that is the result of coming together, like-minded coming together.
And
that
action.
energy and moving from action. And also what I believe has happened is that we've been in the longest stagnation of adolescence. And so I don't believe that you take action just for action's sake. I believe that as you mature, you evolve. And the actions that you take, there's 4 questions. Is what I'm doing kind, helpful, loving, necessary? And so when you are able to answer those questions, I mean, when you think of that, that's really almost like the golden rule. Is it kind? Is it helpful?
Right.
Is it loving? Necessary? And when you think about the people that have come before us, yes, when you speak about the building, I love that because we build on each other's consciousness. We all get up. We think about what happened with Mother Teresa going to India You know,
Yeah.
there's that mothering energy of like, oh no, we're going to help these children. We think of what happened with Martin Luther King Jr. And what he did, and Gandhi. And so I believe that we're seeing a time where people are stepping. They're stepping.
Absolutely. And the time is now. And guys, I'm just going to tell you also that Jack is going to be on the show soon.
Okay.
He did not call in. I think he's actually calling now. But Jack, I'm so sorry. We're like off the air in 1 minute.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So I also want to say, when we're talking about the movement, is
Yes.
what the Dalai Lama says when asked, is critical thinking followed by action. So yes, it's
Yes.
not just doing.
Yes.
It's also really looking at where it makes sense. And again, tuning into the purpose, because we all do have it. And coming from that, then we're safe. You know, if we're coming from our purpose, we are safe. We are trustworthy. We are in our
Absolutely.
integrity. We are okay.
And
So
we're
find that. And we're
Yeah.
awesome,
Guided.
actually. We're
Yeah.
audacious, bold, action
And
people
bodacious
going.
mamas.
So, John, we have like 1 minute.
Okay.
So, guys, you have 20 seconds. Go, Wendy.
Okay. millionmamasmovement.org, facebook.com/Million Mamas Movement. Friday night at Agape, Saturday at the Grove and 3rd Street. We're doing a Mamas and Papas March for Health Freedom.
Awesome.
So there you have it.
Got
Thank
it.
you.
And Sarah, go in.
I would just invite everyone to go to drsarahlarsen.com. And I've got so many resources there for you in order to empower yourself and make a difference from where you are.
Yes.
Yay. And guys, I want to wish everyone a happy Mother's
Yeah,
Day.
happy
I want to
Mother's
send
Day.
love to Nepal.
Yes.
I may be
Yes.
going there, which will be really incredible. Jack is going to come on the show in the next probably 2 weeks, and maybe with Tara, who's going to be coming back from Nepal to have
Yes.
amazing stories. And again, you can go to Waves for Water and donate right there. And the impact of your money is like, I want to say it's about 95% as opposed to Red Cross, which everything's great, but I mean, the percentage is so much lower with these bigger machines and with organizations like Waves for Water. It's so easy to get, your $50 to
really
actually
important to support
make
organizations
a
like that.
difference. And so happy Mother's Day to everyone. Happy Mother's Earth Day.
Happy
And
Mother-
why can't every day be Earth Day, I like to say. And be kind to yourself and make sure that you remember you have the power of one. This is Sunny Chayes. This is Singing in the Rain. And until next time, smile at somebody and do something awesome and audacious today.
Yeah.
Take a bold action step. Woo! Bye,
Now that you've found UBN Radio and discovered our quality talk shows, it's time to spread the word to friends, family, and the universe. 24 hours of music and talk radio without limits. That's why people keep coming back for more. That's UBNradio.com.
When you're standing on the edge of nowhere, there's only one way up. So your heart's gotta go there. Through the